Hey everyone, got a great show for you today. I have a returning guest who has a huge announcement. So let's welcome Sean Pan back to the show. How you doing this morning, Sean?
Dude, I'm doing fantastic. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Just got back from a little R&R down in LA, which is nice. We did a little test run with the dog to see how he would travel in a car, and thumbs up. So hopefully do something every 90 days or so. So I'm doing great. How about you?
Dude, I'm doing amazing. As you have just said, I left my W-2 job on Friday. So I'm doing this
Wow,
full time now.
wow! You quit your job last Friday. Did that feel weird? Did that feel good? What did that feel like?
I gotta tell you, it feels super weird because I've been training my whole life to be an engineer, right? I
Yep.
went to school. I just did the traditional path. After high school, you go to college. After college, you get a job.
Yep.
So I've always had a job up until now. So now when I talk to people, I don't know how to identify myself anymore. I'm no longer, oh, I'm an engineer. I do real estate on the side. No, I'm a real estate investor now. That's my identity.
Oh, that is awesome. And someone who's been suffering that or in the same position as you for now 16 or 17 months, it's still weird, right? It's amazing how you just wrap yourself in your identity of your job, right? Because the most often question when we meet somebody new is, what do you do?
Right?
Right?
And they try to pigeonhole you into this category. Oh, you're an engineer. You're probably a nerd.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that's very, very cool. So why don't we just remind everybody, if they haven't seen your video, what is Sean all about pre-quitting?
Sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, my name is Sean Pan. I'm an investor here in the Bay Area. So I flip homes in cities like Sunnyvale and Santa Clara. I own some properties over in Jacksonville, Florida. Those are my buy and hold rentals where I get passive income. I started a biweekly podcast where I interview real estate investors and professionals like yourself. Twice a week on my show called the Everything Real Estate Investing Show. I also host meetup groups twice a month here in the Bay Area in Sunnyvale. One's a pure networking event, and the other one's like a lesson learned stuff. So Michael was actually on presenting at our meetup last month in May. It was an amazing event. A lot of people came up with live engagement. And on top of that, now I've moved on to also doing daily blogging where I research something interesting, new about our city in San Jose, write a quick blog about it, 500 words. And I'm also trying to get into YouTube as well to film the life of an everyday real estate investor.
That is awesome. And since our last interview here, you've actually appeared in several publications talking about that last flip that you kind of went into detail. How has that been? How did that transpire? Did they just pick up your story somewhere and just reprint it, or did they call you like Bloomberg and all these other people?
Right. So basically the story is I told my story publicly. All my friends knew about it. I was very comfortable sharing my story with people that I know. Even on your show, right?
Yep.
I don't care. So my buddy had a friend who works in Bloomberg in New York, and his coworker was writing a piece about real estate. And he actually called my friend first and said, "Okay, cool. You have a really good story. Now, do you know anyone that actually lost a lot of money?" And my friend's like, "Oh yeah, I know. I
I
lost a
got one.
lot. I know a friend has a lot of money." So then he called me and said, "Hey, would you be down to go on Bloomberg Magazine and talk about your story?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. Why not?" My mom said I already paid the price. Might as well get the publicity for it, right?
Yeah, go mom.
So I just I interviewed him. He interviewed me for about an hour. We just talked about my story, and then he released it about a month later. Got my photo taken and everything. It was really cool.
Uh-huh.
I was so surprised that so many people read Bloomberg magazine. Like people who I knew from high school that I didn't talk to for 10 years were messaging me like, "Oh my God, I saw you on Bloomberg." My boss at work messaged me. He said, "Congratulations on your success." I was like, "Oh man." My coworkers, they're browsing the internet at work, MSN.com. It shows up. And they're like, "Oh, I know this guy." They click it and they're like, "Damn." They're like, "Sean, I had no idea you were a real estate investor. Also, I had no idea you lost that much money."
I feel so bad for you.
And then other publications, they just copy the article
Yes.
and then they put on their website. So like even the local Chinese newspaper copied that article and translated it into Chinese, grabbed my photo from my website. And then obviously, since they didn't talk to me directly, they had all this misinformation. But it was cool because my stepmom happened to be reading that Chinese newspaper on my dad's birthday. And she's like, "Oh my God."
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, I'm just curious. I only know of one other individual that's ever been in a mass publication like Bloomberg. What else has transpired? Did any good come out of it?
So that's when I first learned that the internet is a pretty cruel world, man. Like people can leave some very nasty messages when they think you're not a real person. So then me
Oh,
and my buddy, we were actually like responding back to all the trolls, but just being nice about it. Like, oh, hey, thank you for your support. Thanks for this comment. And yeah, you're right. I did mess up. You're right. This is true. How can we do better in the future, right?
right.
And then afterwards, obviously, like a smiley face, like, okay, yeah, my bad, like, yeah, because they know I'm a real person now.
Right.
Um, a lot of support, obviously. My personal podcast numbers jumped, pretty much doubled.
Awesome.
Like getting comments on my website before I post things, no one actually comments on it. So yeah, it's like a small spark. But of course, that thing lasts maybe about a month and then it dies out. But it just, I mean, just cool to have. Yeah,
Very, very cool. Well, you can always say you are featured in Bloomberg, right? That's
it's on my IG profile. Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah, it probably does.
you're not Bloomberg.
Very, very cool. Well, let's talk about what this show is really about, and that is making the leap, right? Let's be clear. You're a young guy. You're certainly under 30, I'm guessing,
Mm-hmm.
and you were raised to do the traditional route, right? Go to school, get a good job, become an engineer, work your ass off, all of that, right? Um, but now you just took a hard right, or you got on a new path, or whatever you want to call. Um, I guess I'll ask you it this way: what gave you the confidence to do that? Because that's a hard choice for lots of people, right?
Absolutely. And if you just live your day-to-day life, there's never going to be a right time to do something like this ever, right? Even if you have all this passive income, you say, well, my job, I'm about to get more RSUs, or my vesting schedule is coming up soon. So, well, I'll wait till next time and the next time. I knew 3 years ago that I was going to quit my job in June of 2019.
Wow.
So for 3 years, I was thinking, all right, what can I do so that I'll be in a good position to, quote unquote, retire from my day job in June of 2019.
Okay.
And that's why I got into flipping. That's why I bought properties so that I would have that passive income to support my lifestyle. Now, of course, things went really, really bad in 2018, which is very unfortunate, right? It's like when you plan for retirement and at the very last minute, boom, 2008 happens and half your savings is gone. Well, for me, it was still a non-negotiable. Like I realized that if I just stayed in my current position in my industry, I would not be going very far. I was in defense contracting. It's not like tech where you can make 250K as an individual, with stock options and stuff. Yeah, in defense contracting, you're maybe making 100 grand, low six figures, which is good, but not where I want to be if I want to live the lifestyle that I want in the future, right? And it's crazy because things changed. I was thinking, well, maybe I'll work part-time at this job and they'll pay for my health insurance while I can rebuild my net worth and my confidence back and stuff like that. But man, after only 1 week of working part-time, I was already like disappointed in myself because I made a promise that I would just quit and do this full-time to achieve my dreams. And so I went to a conference in San Diego over the past early June, that weekend. And that time they were just talking about, man, you need to just execute. You need to take a lot of action. And I see people, if they spend 100% of their ability, 100% dedication to one task, they do very well in the future. So I totally believe that too. And I think, all right, if I just give this, 2-3 good years, I have enough savings to have that kind of runway. 2-3 good years of just pure action. Dude, there's no way I'm going to fail, right?
That's awesome. So one thing I picked up here that I didn't pick up last time, or I just missed it, is this has been a plan for 3 years.
Yeah.
Right. So you had this plan at 20, you started it at 25 or something? I mean,
yeah, pretty much. I mean, I was 26. I just turned 26 when I moved back to Northern California. Okay. And that's when I knew, all right, 3.5 years is the time to go.
Wow. And again, was it always real estate in 3 years, or was it, I'm going to find something alternative, or what? Was it always real estate?
It was not always real estate. So actually, my story starts in 2013.
Okay.
Actually, starts like 2011. But 2013 is kind of when I finished my undergrad and I was really considering what is my future going to be like. And I looked around my coworkers, and I said, I don't want to be like my coworkers. You know, they're 30 years older than me and they're just not happy.
Right.
Yeah. And I thought, how can I take my own future into my own hands? And that's when I started thinking of different things to do. So that's why I started different businesses. Like I tried selling stuff on Amazon, right? Selling selfie sticks on Amazon, trying to start a startup company with my friends, writing ebooks, but nothing really panned out until I really got into real estate investing. And I joined a community of real estate investors on a consistent basis. And that's when real estate became, all right, this is the way to achieve that freedom. Let's go.
Got it. So you knew you wanted out, you knew you wanted a different way. And it's interesting. You had the same kind of realization earlier than me. So good for you that you look up or around you at work and you realize that the rat race is real, right? They're not happy and that life has to offer different things. That's, to see that at a young age is huge. So very, very cool. So now that you're done, you've punched the clock, you're out. I had a couple of days when I did that where I was celebrating. My mouth hurt from smiling so much. But now, has it almost been a week, right? What is today? Thursday?
Today's Thursday.
Yeah.
No, Wednesday. Today's Wednesday.
Oh, Wednesday. Geez. Wow. Time flies or doesn't fly. So it's not even been a week yet. Has the real world set in or are you still floating on cloud nine?
Well, I'm going to be real with you. Yeah. I was never on cloud nine. Like Friday was my last day at work. Okay. People are like, celebrate. I'm like, dude, I have nothing to celebrate for. This is when I work even harder than before. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in a position to celebrate. I don't have huge amounts of cash flow coming in. I have some rentals in Jacksonville that are paying for my cost of living expenses. Right. My roommates here pay for my living. So my cost of living is very low, but it's not like I have a lot of money. You know, I did have a lot of money. And like an article said, I lost a lot of money. My friend, I lost a lot of his money too, right? So I'm focused on getting his money back first. So it's now, what can I do to get back to where I was or go even further?
Got it.
I have all this time now. It doesn't mean I can chill. It means I need to work even harder on my craft. So in fact, usually Saturdays and Sundays, you sleep in, you have a good time, you don't do any work. I said, dude, Saturday and Sundays is just another working day for me. So my alarm is now 5:45 every single day, regardless if it's a weekend or not. And so I do that. I wake up at 5:45, I jump in the shower, I write a blog post, I do some research, right? I edit podcasts. And then before I talk to you just now, I was cold calling agents. That's my job now. My job is to find good leads. So definitely, it's not time to chill. It's work even harder now. But you feel better for it because all the effort you put into is for your own business.
Oh, I love that. And I'm very glad you put it that way. Right now it's time to work.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. So, all right. So you're in this mix, you're going to be flipping properties in the Bay Area, right? That's still the plan.
So the plan is to partner with as many people as possible. My plan personally is to be the lead generator. So instead of flipping houses, right? Okay. I can only flip so many houses by myself.
Yep.
But what if I work with all these different people? Now I can flip multiple houses and have, relatively little risk compared to if I just flip one whole project myself, right? So instead of getting 100% of one project, maybe I'll get 10% of 10 projects.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's awesome. So really, if that's the model, which is awesome, by the way, you really do have two things you need to be doing. One is attracting other, I'll call them flippers for lack of a better term, right? So you can JV or partner on their deals and get, an equity stake, 10%, 20%, whatever it is. And the other one is to find opportunities that make sense or pencil, if you will. Right? Focus is good. Knowing what you're supposed to do is good. Because then you just, like you say, you do the activities that lead to one of those two things. On one side, you're doing podcasts and meetups and advertising that with blog posts. On the other side, you're cold calling agents, right? Life is simple in this model.
Yeah, pretty much. That's my job now. Create content and attract leads.
Yeah. Cool. So let's go to the attracting leads, because the creating content you're a master at and you're getting better. So that's huge. But let's talk about attracting leads in this market, right? The Bay Area, like most of the US, is, I'll call it softening. Yep. Are you seeing that as well from your kind of purview? And if so, what does that mean for your business?
Absolutely, it's softening. So what it means for the business is this is actually the best time to do what we're doing, because we are able to talk to agents without really being, I guess, anxious to buy properties, right? Like before, when the market was red hot, we thought, oh my goodness, if we don't buy now, the prices are only going to get higher. So we need to buy today. Now we're like, okay, we have some breathing room. In fact, it's probably not even a good idea to buy like today, because you buy today, you close, you have to renovate the property. If it stretches out for whatever reason, now you're in the winter time and you sell in the winter, then the property is going to sell for lower. So it's like, now's a better time to just generate that relationship with other agents. Call as many people, nurture the leads, and then 3 to 6 months from now, maybe they'll have something, and then you can acquire in the fall or in the winter, repair it, and have it on the market for spring.
Look at you thinking ahead. So if that's the goal, which I think is awesome, do you have personal goals for your week? Like, I want to talk to 10 new agents or 10 new people, or have you broken it down to that level and set those kind of goals yet?
So I usually just set a time block and I just call down the roster that I have. So I create a very specialized list of agents. I basically scoured through the MLS and I found, you can see who sold what in the MLS. It has every single record. So you can just export that to like an Excel file, sort how many, blah, blah, blah. And I found out who sold like 8 houses, 7, 6, 5 in the past year. And I want that specific range because these are the kind of agents that have the appropriate volume, but also aren't like some big shot who won't even talk to you. You know what I mean? If I talk to some agent that sells 70 houses, it'd be like, go away, fly.
Yeah.
An agent who's only like 1 house a year, they're like, oh, I'm a Googler, I don't do this.
Yeah. I bought my own house. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So you want to find someone in that perfect range to talk to.
Okay.
And that's been going very well so far.
That's awesome. So if you're looking at the entire Santa Clara County, what is that list? 100, 500? I mean, I have no idea roughly how many agents are on that list.
Okay, so in that specific window from 8 to 4 sales from the last year, it was about 350.
Oh, wow. More than I expected.
So it's actually not that a lot. It's actually not a lot because if you call, let's say 50 people a day.
Yeah, it's a week.
Done.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there's also the follow-up game. Okay. I think that's where most people get it wrong. Like they call the first time, but they don't follow up. So I've been thinking with my team, right? I'm hanging out with a lot of people nowadays. What can we do to automate this? Like follow up with people. I'm sure as a salesperson, you understand follow up is where you make the money, right?
Oh, no question. Follow up's key or critical or whatever you want to call it. Yeah. So what does your follow up game look like? Because one of the things that I would recommend is, because you have all this content side, use that vehicle as a way to hook, even more people.
Exactly. So I have a personal email list that I send out every week, kind of like a recap of what I've personally been doing. I post on Facebook way too much. 1 blog post a day, 2 podcasts a week, and videos and stuff. But these agents I'm cold calling, I'm not really adding them as friends on Facebook. So then I'm not really getting them that way. So I'm thinking about just putting them on my email list so they see it once a week. At least they remember who I am.
Yeah.
But 2, I'll be calling them once every 3 weeks or sending them like a text. Because texts have like a 99% open rate,
Yeah.
Oh, I got a text. Who is this? Cool.
Yeah. Okay. All right. And then again, your goal for the next 90 days, what do you think? You'll become one of the top 3 contacts or buyers of these agents, like a half of them, 10% of them? Are you breaking it down like that?
I'm not. I should.
Yeah. Because
I don't know how to do that though, right? I'm not even sure how that works because you can just hope that they put you on the top.
Well, what will happen is, again, this is all just sales. This is all this is, or marketing, maybe if you want to call it. Maybe it's marketing. But basically, how you would test people like this is as you're building that relationship, offer to them to interview them on their blog, right? I've interviewed 30 agents on my YouTube channel in my market, right? Fresno. And then I always give them a chance to market themselves. And most of them have told me they've gotten leads off of that. So like when you're contacting these, 50 of the heavy hitters of the 350, offer to give them value before you ask for anything, right? Hey, would you like to come in and tell your story and how you do this and how you've been in the Bay Area and what's your specific, favorite location or dream client or whatever? You'll be amazed how you just jump to the top of the list. And then the way you test people is, do they return your voicemails? It's that simple, man.
Yeah. I mean, I totally see that because even on my podcast, right, I've been interviewing real estate professionals, and I'm happy to say that almost every single one has come back to me and said, hey, I got a client because of because I went on your show, and I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
use that to hit that 350 hard. And frankly, this is what I would do, right? You probably have 10 or 20 kind of like dream candidates on this list that are not giving you the time of day.
Sure.
I would send them an email or a text saying, I would like to interview on my top ranked, podcast, Bloomberg, whatever, right? Dress it up. And I bet you half of them respond back in a day going, oh, I'd love to be interviewed.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. Because hey, it's free publicity, it's good.
Yeah. And then most of them will put it on their website and, if you do it right. So use your content side to pull yourself up the list. So create that plan. All right.
Good.
So I'm big on goals, right? We're just about to July 1st. So what does the second half of 2019 look like for Sean?
Yeah. So when we talk about goals, I was really having like a debate with my friends about this. Some people say the goal is to have this amount of money or this many deals. But then we thought about some more, and we were like, we don't have control over the outcome, but we have control over our actions.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So my goals are to be consistent with my habits. Okay. So like for me, my goal is waking up at 5:45 a.m. Like I told my girlfriend, I don't think I have anything special, but one thing that I do personally realize is that I have a lot of self-discipline. So when I tell myself that I'm going to do something, it's going to get done. No question about it. So I guess what I'm saying is I want to be consistent with my products. So waking up at 5:45 every day, even on the weekends. I want to keep writing one blog post a day, although I'm not 100% sure if this is going to be a thing, because I'm kind of debating if it's too much content, right? Do I want to be more a blogger? Is blogging meaning that all the other things I'm doing going down, right? I talked to Graham Stephan.
Mm-hmm.
Graham Stephan for his YouTube star, right?
Yeah.
And he told me, YouTube is a way to go too. So I'm like, all right, cool. I got this nice nifty camera, and I've been following people around with their projects and my own projects too. And that's been a lot of fun. Okay. Obviously the podcast is great too, because it lets me outreach and talk one-on-one with somebody. Yeah.
Yeah. So again, I'm big on goals. I've lived by goals. I've been a commission sales rep, I was a commission sales rep. I almost said I am. Scary. Since I was 18 or 17 actually, right? Selling washers and dryers at Sears, right? Full commission. I believe you're right. You need to track your actions, which is the 5:45, the blog post, the video. But in my opinion, you do need to have some outlandish goal so that you're always looking up, and it drives the behavior of waking up at 5:45, doing some kind of content creation every day, because you have to make that connection. Otherwise, you just feel good being busy.
I see. Okay, so you want to know my goal, like the end goal?
Come on.
Okay, well, obviously the the goal is how do you get to 7 figures a year doing what we're doing?
Okay.
Yeah, that's the goal. And it sounds pretty hard, right? But then again, I think it's doable. I know people who do it.
Oh yeah, so do I. I know dozens of people.
Yeah, we know tons of people who do it.
Yeah. So
it's possible. Okay. That's the first goal. How do you get to 7 figures a year?
Okay.
What we're doing.
Now we got it.
Yes.
Okay. Now we're talking. So again, now we get by all this other stuff, and we talk about the truth. So 7 figures a year. I'm guessing that's gross.
Let's make it net.
Net.
Yeah.
You mean like net?
Net before taxes.
Okay, net before taxes. Okay. All right. So you figure marketing expense.
Gross. I can just sell the house. That's already 1.5 million right there. But what's my cost, right? I might have lost money.
Yeah. No, yeah. Okay. So this is going back to earlier in the show. For example, this would mean if you're going to take 10%, right, you're going to generate leads and JV with other flippers just to tie it together to get your $1 million, 7 figures at 10% means they would have to profit $10 million. You would have to help other people generate $10 million in profit to generate $1 million on your side.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I like it, because then once you have that goal, then you could break it down, right? The average profit per flip is X, the number of deals is Y. how many things do I have to look at? I mean, now this is just how my sales brain works and setting quotas and tracking performance and all of that.
Right.
Once you have that big goal, it's okay. If the average profit for a flip in the Bay Area is 200 grand, I have no idea what it is. You probably do. Then I get 20 grand of that. In order to do that, I need to do 50 deals. That's just how the math works, right?
Sure.
Does that make sense, or you already figured this out?
Oh no, it makes sense. But it's also like this is one aspect.
Yep.
There's other things that I can create revenue from.
True.
Also, I'm not super anxious to get this done ASAP.
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't have to be this year. Yeah.
No, it's not has to be this year.
Yeah.
But it's like, what am I doing so that this can be a possibility in the future? I know that if I worked at my old company, it would be an impossibility unless I was CEO or VP, right?
Right. Okay. So I'm guessing you see this 7-figure goal somewhere out in the 3 to 5 year time frame.
I think that's doable.
Reasonable, right?
I think that's doable.
Okay.
And hey, worst case, look, the way I always say it, I'm young for 40. So if I can do whatever I need to do today so that when I'm 40, I'm killing it, I don't care.
Yeah.
Right? Because I have friends who have lived in their cars. My friend told me that at one point he lost like half his tuition and all he did was eat ramen for like weeks to the point where his hair started falling out because there's too much sodium in the food.
Wow.
But that was in his 20s, right? Early 20s. Now he's killing it. Like, who cares? Like, who cares what you went through when you were young if it means that you're going to be doing really well in the future, right? So I'm young for 40. I can sleep in my car if I really need to. But I know that within 10 years, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'll be fine.
Well, this is very cool. This is a lot of fun. Again, you made the big step. You had the dream for 3 years. You stayed to it. You didn't go halfway, do the part-time thing. You're open to all the avenues. You're breaking it down. You're keeping yourself honest, right? 545 wake-up calls is not easy for lots of people. So how can people follow you, be a part of your journey? What are all the things you're doing so people can follow you?
Sure. So first of all, y'all can check out my site, everythingrei.com. I also have the podcast, the Everything Real Estate Investing Show with Sean Pan. You can find on iTunes or Stitcher or anywhere that they have podcasts. And I'm starting my YouTube channel as well. So IM_Sean Pan.
Very cool, Sean. Well, thank you very much for this. I'm glad we were able to sneak this in. I'm actually going to save this video right now and post it today. It is that awesome. Thanks, buddy.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye.